Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday Krishna Katha session from ISV. So we'll start the session with a special song written by Srila Narahari Sarkar Thakur. So Giridhar Prabhu, can you please share that lyric? I just want to explain the song before we sing it. By the way, it's a difficult song to sing, but so the song says, Kiba kalia rupero chota, kubolayo dalo dolito anjano, jinia jalodo ghata. So this song is actually describing Krishna's form and how it is attracting the devotees. So he's telling what kind of effulgence Lord Krishna's dark hue has or dark form has. It is like Kubalaya Dala, like the petals of the lotus, Dalito Anjan, and it has also Anjan, means like mascara all over the eyes, and Jinia Jalodo Ghata, and it actually defeats the beauty of dense cloud. Then it says Kiba Bodone Modhuro Hashi, Jhoro Jhoro Jhoro, Jhoroe Omiya, Jini Shoroder Shoshi. Krishna's whole body is actually kind of smiling. His face is also smiling, means like, but his effulgence is just like that you feel like he is glowing everywhere. So he's saying like his face is smiling, and his the beauty of that smile is actually defeating the beauty of anything else, beauty of the pearls, nectars, the diamonds, everything, and it defeats the beauty of the moon of the time of autumn. You know that autumnal moon is the best moon, so it actually defeats that beauty as well. Then says কিবা তেরোছা নয়নে চায় ভেদয়ে অন্তর করে জড় জড় কি দিব উপমাতায়. Krishna always looks in sidelong glance, right? It's his specialty. So he looks in a sidelong glance to his devotees, and it pierces their hearts. It pierces their hearts. And Narahari Sarkar Thakur is telling that I cannot actually give any analogy or any metaphor or simile for that kind of sidelong glance. কিবা ভুরু ভ্রমরেরও পাতি তিলক চন্দন ভালে ঝলমলো মজায় যুবতী জাতি. Krishna's forehead, it is beautified with nice tilak chandan, and also his eyebrows, his dazzling, the moving of eyebrows, it shows like resplendent, display, a very resplendent display, and it attracts all the damsels, especially of the Braja Gopis. Yeah, can you go down the last paragraph? Yeah. Kiba Mayuru Chandrika Mathe Kohe Narahari Heri Kulovati Daraila Kolonko Pothe. So Narahari Sarkar is telling that, oh, what kind of the peacock feather he has put on his head. By looking at that, I am also following, or I also want to follow the path of the Brajavasi damsel girls. The way they have also attained the designation of fallen from the society. I also want to take that path. Daraila Kolonko Pothe means like Kolonko means like it's a blemish. You are doing something which is against the social rules. So the Brajavasi damsels are doing that, and Narahari Sarkar wants to follow their path because he is so attracted to the beauty of Lord Shri Krishna. So we want to sing it. I'm singing mainly because this is a song devotees sing during the Jagannath, Rath Yatra, because Jagannath is also known as Kalia, and his eyes are very prominent. He's known as Chakodola also, Kubalayadola also. So we'll sing this song to remember his form. Whenever I was singing, I was just remembering Jagannath's form, and I hope that you can also connect it that way. And forgive me if I don't do justice for the song, because I will be just singing with my voice, and it's a beautiful song, but I'm not sure that I can sing it properly.
কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা। কুবলয় দল দলিত অঞ্জন, কুবলয় দল দলিত অঞ্জন, জিনিয়া জলদ ঘটা, আহা জিনিয়া জলদ ঘটা। কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা বদনে মধুর হাসি, কিবা বদনে মধুর হাসি। ঝড় 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 এ অমিয়া, ঝড় 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 এ অমিয়া, যিনি শরদের শশী, আহা যিনি শরদের শশী। কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা তেরো ছানয়নে চায়, কিবা তেরো ছানয়নে চায়। ভেদয়ে অন্তর কর জর জর, ভেদয়ে অন্তর কর জর জর, কি দিব উপমাতায়, আহা কি দিব উপমাতায়। আহা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা ভুরু ভ্রমরের পাতি, কিবা ভুরু ভ্রমরের পাতি। তিলক চন্দন ভাল ঝলমল, তিলক চন্দন ভাল ঝলমল, মজায় যুবতী জাতি, আহা মজায় যুবতী জাতি। কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা মকর কুণ্ডল কানে, কিবা মকর কুণ্ডল কানে। দোলে ঘন ঘন ভুবন ভুলায়ে, দোলে ঘন ঘন ভুবন ভুলায়ে, মদন নাজিয়ে প্রাণে, আহা মদন নাজিয়ে প্রাণে। কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা ময়ূর চন্দ্রিক মাথে, কিবা ময়ূর চন্দ্রিক মাথে। কহে নর হরি হরি কুলবতী, কহে নর হরি হরি কুলবতী, দাঁড়াইলা কলঙ্ক পথে, আহা দাঁড়াইলা কলঙ্ক পথে। কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা, কিবা কালিয়া রূপের ছটা।
Can you go down, Prabhu? I think I missed one stanza to explain. I think the second last, it says, Kiva Makoro Kundalo Kane, Dole Ghana Ghana Bhuvana Bhulaye Madana Najio Prane. It says, like, in Krishna's earrings are called Makara Kundala, right? It is shaped like Scorpio, and it swings, it oscillates when he dances or he moves. So when it swings, it creates such a beautiful scene that even Madan, the love god personified, he feels like, I can give my life for this kind of beauty. He feels like that. So you can understand the devotee's, situation by looking at Krishna's beauty, this kind of beauty. I think in our uh, that Damodar Ashtakam, the first slok also speaks about, Krishna's Makara, right? Namamishwaram Sachidananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Bhrajamanam. Like Kundalam, Lasat means like it moves, swings. So yeah, similarly, he's also described. Okay, so maybe now we can go to our Mangalacharan prayer, and then we can go to our class discuss. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Se Vishakhannitam Scha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते ताप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम् आराध्य भगवान् व्रजसुतनयं तद्धाम वृन्दावनं रम्यकाजिदुपासना व्रजवद्वर्गेण च कल्पिता श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रमाणममलं प्रेम पुमर्थमहान् श्रीचैतन्य महाप्रभुर्मतमिदं तद्रादरनापरः. Hare Krishna, thank you everyone for joining today. So we'll be continuing our session from last session, which was about anartha nivritti. We discussed the uh, 10 anarthas from Krishna Lila, starting from the killing of Putana. So before just I just want to give some like review, the preface, because it has been quite a while and even I cannot remember all the details I spoke, but we can actually review some of the aspects. So we are discussing the anarthas based on the teachings of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So in his Bhajan Rahasya book, he actually discussed there are 4 types of anarthas. So one type of anartha is actually the tattva vibram, the misidea about the tattvas, the absolute truth. So this misidea he categorized in 4 different divisions. One is Satattva Vibram, all the misidentification of your own identity. Then Paratattva Vibram, misidentification of the absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then Sadhya Sadhanata Vibram, the misidentification about or misconception about the process of devotional service and who is to be worshipped. And then Virodhi Vishaya Vibram, the misconception uh, about the theories about the uh, subject matters which are adverse, which are against the principle of devotional service. Means you don't understand that this is actually against. These are like pratikul, the aversive to devotional service. So this is the tattva vibram part. Then comes the uh, uh, your uh, desire, ashakti, desire to achieve some material things. So material things are categorized in mainly in 4 different categories. One is the gross material things for enjoyment, like if you want some worldly enjoyment like nice house, nice car. I'm not telling that you should not should, but if you are like spending your all times to acquire that, so these are like desire to achieve material opulences. And then this going to the higher planets, going to sargaloka or tapaloka or janaloka. Those things are like desiring to go to higher planets, and you do karma kanda to achieve those kind of platforms. Then there are ashakti to achieve siddhis, yeah, perfection, mystic perfection. So the yogis sometimes they practice yoga process to achieve this, even though the main purpose of a yoga process is to understand the Supreme Personality of God and establish a relationship with Him. But that's not some of people's desire or goal. And then the desire to achieve liberation, especially the Sayuja liberation, to merge into the effulgence of the Supreme Lord. So then third category he said like aparad, the offenses we commit. So then he says that there are seva aparad. When we are executing devotional services, we are committing different type of seva aparad, especially while doing deity worship or serving the Vaishnavas. Then nama parat, actually first comes nama parat, like we are offensive towards the holy name. There are 10 types of nama parat, and then dhama parat, the offenses towards the holy places. There are 10 types of dhama parat as well. And then jivo hingsha, jiva parat, like we are not giving the due respect to the living entities, different types of living entities in different stratum. There are different types, but we are not actually giving our attention to them, or being respectful to the presence of those living entities. And then the fourth category is the weakness of your heart, hridaya dorbalya. So the hridaya dorbalya, or weakness of heart, he categorized in again 4 different ways. One is the tuchha shakti, you want to get something very petty, like you want to get like something which is very insignificant through the process of devotional service. Just like you want to get some adoration, some money, opulences through the process of devotional service. Then kutinati, your cheating propensity, like you are something but you pretend something else. Then envy towards the devotees, that you are not accepting or appreciating the devotees. And then the I think pratishtha also, you are trying to achieve fame being a big devotee or performing devotional service. So these are the 4 categories of anarthas. And then in the Krishna Samhita book, he actually or maybe Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he actually uh, uh, related different pastimes of Krishna with different types of anarthas. So in one pastimes, he may have quoted, 5, 6, or 7 types of anarthas, which are already quoted here. So these anarthas can be presented in different details manner. It's like more details can be, expanded from here. So some glimpse of those details he presented through the explanation of different anarthas through the, Krishna Lila, through Krishna Lila in Vrindavan. So we know that Krishna in Vrindavan is actually the Swayam Bhagavan with his all opulence, especially the opulence of his sweetness, Madhurya. His full sweetness is present in Vrindavan. So the devotees who are worshipping Krishna, or who are related to Krishna in Brajalila, they're the topmost in all the shastras, especially our Gaudiya Shastra. They explicitly worship or explicitly follow the path of the devotional service, which are shown by the pure devotees or the devotees of Vrindavan. But if you think that the price they have given to achieve that perfection or that service to Krishna, it's enormous. It's the topmost. So if you want to achieve the topmost devotional service, the price you have to give is also the topmost. So that the anarthas he described, some of the anarthas are so subtle, even we don't even notice. It's very difficult that we even don't think like that can be an anartha. We will discuss some of this today. Half of that were discussed in the second session. In the third session, we will try to cover the rest of the 9. So so that's why we need the guidance of a very bona fide spiritual master and the previous acharyas, because then we can see through their eyes and hear from them through their by reading their books, or by following a present acharya who is following in toto the previous acharyas. It's like he digested the teachings of them and he is implementing all these things in his life, and then he can impart it to us. That's why it's very important that you are always performing devotional service under the umbrella of a very uttamadhikari devotee. It's very, very important. Otherwise there will be misconception. Even the madhyama stage is not enough sometimes, because there will be some confusion about some small details of devotional service. So yeah, so if we get that kind of association, is very fortunate. And Fortunately, in ISB we have that kind of association. I feel really, you know, secured in that way. Hare Krishna. So yeah, so we have actually discussed the 10, first 10 items. So I will just go over them once again so that we can, uh, recall what we have discussed. So the first anartha is the, killing of Putana. Krishna killed Putana when he was like infant. So it represents the pseudo guru, somebody who is posing as a guru, or sometimes you consider the logic or argument as your guru. Now the argument and logic can be presented in different way, so the false representations can be very prominent, you can be bewildered. So that's why we need to, again, that same point comes, that we should actually take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master who is in line with the previous acharya in toto. Then the Trinavarta, killing of Trinavarta, when Krishna was like 1.5 years old, he killed Trinavarta. Actually, maybe one. He just started crawling at the time, right? So Trinavarta represents the pride of learning, the use of false arguments, dry logic, to not take devotional service or to not accept what is given by previous acharyas. We sometimes, give ourselves that kind of consolation prize, that, oh no, it is better. Actually, I feel this is better. Maybe you are afraid, or you are not, able to accept the hard truth or crude truth which are spoken by the previous acharya. So we want to rationalize our thought process by our false arguments, dry logic, and through our learning also. Then Shakatashur, Krishna kicked Shakatashur during his, I think, name giving ceremony or something, forgot. And then it got dispatched into different pieces. So Shakatashur actually represents the burden of carrying the old habits or performing some activity without any, mental abstraction, like Nyamagraha. You are not into it, but you are just doing it for the sake of doing, to show people, or maybe you are bound to do that. You don't have any emotional investment in the process. So that is Shakatashur. Then Batsasura, Krishna actually killed that Batsasura who posed as a calf. eh. And then Batsasura actually represents the Baladosha, the problems of young life. When you are young, we spend so much time in frivolous activities. We don't want to put attention to the devotional service, and then we lose the concentration of brahmacharya because we get attracted to the worldly elements. And that, in course of time, that creates a fall down in our devotional process. Gradual enjoyment propensity arises in our heart, and we fall down from our position. Then the fifth is Bakasura, who represents Lava Puja Pratishtha, like Lava Puja. Puja is like worship, Pratishtha is like fame, like gain, fame, worship, these kind of things from your devotional service. So these kind of people who are actually executing devotional service for the sake of these external, wits, they are committing uh, very grievous offense to the holy name, because in the name of serving the Lord, they are actually asking for something which is not connected to devotional service at all. So we should be very careful for this Bakasura kind of, mentality. Then Agasura is actually the personification of intolerance, cruelty, and violence. We see sometimes, we become violent. We cannot tolerate the pains inflicted upon us, and we become very, rude to the devotees in the devotional process. We are not able to control our emotions. So that's kind of, Agasura, killing of Agasura. Krishna actually killed Agasura to subdue these propensities. And then Brahma Vimahan Leela, which is a very special Leela, because Lord Brahma is a Mahajana, but still he got illusion. Because why? Because he was a very learned person. He is a very learned person. He spoke the Vedas to the mankind. He gave the knowledge. I'm reading the third canto right now, so we are going through those chapters. So we see that he gave this knowledge to all his sons. That headed by what's his name, Angira, those rishis. I forgot the names even. Marichi, headed by Marichi. So this Lord Brahma, he thought that I know everything. Then when Krishna actually destroyed his pride, then he said, Jnani Udapasya Namante Eva, right? Shriyam Shruti Bhakti Mudasya Vivo. Those verses he spoke to show that, the devotional service is the ultimate goal of life. Yeah, Vedasya Sarvam Ahameva Vedya. All the knowledge, if it doesn't culminate to all the knowledge you acquire, if it doesn't culminate to enhance your devotional service to Krishna, then it's Rama Eva Kevalam. It's just nothing but accumulating, world, kind of, satiating your mental urge, nothing else. So that's why he through his lila, Krishna actually gave a very big lesson, very powerful lesson, that those who are seeking for knowledge, but that is not connected to devotional service, it don't bring any fruit in course of time. It will make, somebody maybe very pride, like Lord Brahma. He wanted to test Lord Krishna by not understanding his lila. And then Dhanukasura, the ass demon, right? The jackass demon. He was protecting that fruit orchard which had very juicy fruits, but he was not enjoying himself. He was protecting it for Kamsa, the demon. So it's like these mentalities like gross discrimination, that Kamsa is eligible to honor this fruit or take this fruit, enjoy this fruit, but not anyone else. So Krishna's friends, they objected, oh Krishna, we cannot go into that orchard, we cannot enjoy those fruits. Krishna made a plan and he killed this jackass demon. So this gross discrimination is prohibited, because Vaishnavas, they can be from any place. What is that verse, that mantra tantra visharada Avaishnava Guru, Shapacha Guru, something, Vaishnava Shapacha Guru. Means like if somebody is very expert in kind of, reveal the scriptures, but he is not a Vaishnava, he doesn't have mentality to serve the Lord. But somebody who is outcast, but he has the knowledge of or the mood of serving the Supreme Lord, he can be a spiritual master, not the other person, the Vipra, who is just externally, following the rules and regulations of the Shastras. Satkarma Nipuna Mantra Tantra Visharada. Thank you, Giridhar Prabhu. Yeah. Avaishnava Gurunyasya Vaishnava Sapacha Guruhu. Yeah, that's what I actually spoke. And then, but one thing to be remembered here, that gross discrimination is prohibited, but subtle discrimination is encouraged. Because in the Madhyama platform, we know that there is a subtle discrimination. Ishwara Tadadineshu Balisheshu Dishvacha Prematriki Papaksha Yat Karote Madhyama. Madhyama Adhikari, he needs to understand what relationship I have to, or in what level I need to mix with that person. He has a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. He has a friendly relationship with the devotees. He has a merciful or compassionate nature towards the non-envious people, and he avoids the envious people who are envious to devotional service. So this is encouraged, not the gross, like, oh, he is like a white body person, oh, he is from East Asia, like that. Okay, then Vrishashura or Aristashira. Vrishashura is like, you are giving up Vaidhi Bhakti and you are just taking Raganuga Bhakti because you are considering yourself very elevated. And you don't even understand that you are not that elevated. And somebody is thinking, oh, I got this knowledge of how to perform Raganuga Bhakti and I will do it right now. Sometimes we see that. And in Prabhupada's Leela also we saw. And you kind of degrade from your position. Seva sadhagu rupena siddha rupena chatrohi tadbhava lipshana karya brajaloka anusurat. The pure devotees who are following the mood of Raganuga Bhakti, externally you cannot identify they are actually Raganuga Bhaktas, because they will do exactly what a sadhuka will do, exactly the way they will serve. You won't understand. However, in the heart, they are serving Krishna. So that's why it says, Divyagan Hridaya Prakashita, the knowledge of pure transcendental service will manifest in your heart. So if somebody says to you that, oh, this is the book, here all the Raganuga, bhajan paddhati, the method of worshipping Lord in supreme mellows are discussed, you can follow it and you can achieve it, then he is actually guiding you in the wrong path, because this knowledge will automatically manifest in your heart when you are perfecting your sadhana or you are advancing in your sadhana, right? That step by step, adau shraddha tata sadhu sangha tata bhajana kriya satyata anartha nivriti, right? Nishta ruchis tatha ashaktis bhavat premat bhudanchati sadhakana ayam premna bhavet bhavet kama. Yeah, anyways. Then Kalia is the personification of pride, deceit, harming others. Kalia was actually, by as like like through his poison, as, like what is that? Like blowing his poison, or spitting his poison in the Yamuna. He was killing the animals, the living entities indiscriminately. He was very proud of his power. I can kill anyone. I can be, and he was harming others. So these kind of mentalities are also a big obstacle in the process of devotional service. So these 10 processes we have discussed, the 10 anarthas we have discussed, or the 10 leelas we discussed in our previous sessions. Now we'll go to the in detail little bit the other 9, and hopefully we can conclude it in today's session. Excuse me. So the 11th anartha, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, is forest fire. If you know the pastimes of forest fire, one time Krishna was actually cowherding with his friends, grazing the cows. And Krishna's grazing the cows is not like ordinary, like he doesn't have to always behind the cows. He just enjoys time with his friends, sometimes play. And they are having like all the time picnic, and everything is uh, like enjoyable, pleasant for Lord's uh, enjoyment. So what happened? Some of the cowherd boys, they noticed that there is a fire in the forest where they were grazing the cows. I think it was in Bandiraban or something like that. And they noticed it, and they went to rescue their cows by following their hoof prints. Now, by the time they reached to the cows, the fire is spreaded all over the forest. Even though they reached to the cows and they rescued, kind of, they got hold of those cows and calves, but they felt like they will be devoured by the fire. And they started shouting, "Oh Krishna, please help!" And this is another exclusive nature of Brajavasis. They won't ever call anyone else, even though they are also called, the devotees of ignorance. The complete ignorance can be seen among the demons, right? They are completely ignorant of that Lord exists, or they pretend to be ignorant. But the Brajavasis, they are ignorant also that Krishna is the supreme, but everything is circled around Krishna. Whenever there is a problem, it is about they will call about Krishna. Whenever there is a pleasant thing, they will call about Krishna. They will think about Krishna. They will talk about Krishna. That is only their service. So when they are sufferings, they are also calling Krishna's name. When they are enjoying, they are also calling Krishna's name. That is also said, in another platform we are discussing this, that when Krishna left Vrindavan, the only thing kept their lives is the name of Krishna. They kept on hearing the glories of Lord Krishna, what happened in Vrindavan, his beauty, his qualities, his pastimes. That only kept their lives. So they always chant Krishna's name. So in this case, there is no anomaly. They shout out, "Oh Krishna, please help us!" And Krishna immediately rushed to the place, and he told, "Oh, you all close your eyes. I will devour you. I'll make an arrangement." And then Krishna, he started devouring all the fires. He started inhaling the fires through his mouth, and that's how all the forest fire was extinguished. So this forest fire is representing the unearth of sectarianism. So that means you follow a sampradaya, right? In that sampradaya, maybe you definitely follow a sampradaya in which you have full faith. If you don't have full faith in Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, you cannot follow it from your heart. You don't have that Shraddha. You won't have that Shraddha. You cannot, progress further. It's not possible. So you have some kind of Shraddha to the Sampradaya. And it is definitely higher than, some Shraddha with respect to other Sampradayas. That's true. That's true. Otherwise, why you will actually follow this path? Otherwise, you will be attracted to those paths. That is true. That is good. That's not a problem. The problem is if you think like, oh, your sect is the only way, and you are greater than everyone else, and you want to like, you are a very kanishtadikari, like in your sampradaya, you are just starting your devotional service. Somebody from other sampradaya is a very elevated Vaishnava came. I'm just giving an example. and you don't consider, oh no, 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 he doesn't follow my sampradaya, he should not be like respected, or should be, given that kind of so this is an anartha of sectarianism. Like, you're considering people based on the institute they belong, or the particular process or particular way of worship they follow, and you are dishonoring them in that way. I can still recall, in one time in our temple, ISB temple, his Holiness Chinnajiya Swami Maharaj. He's from Sri Sampradaya. He came. He's a very avid preacher. Yeah, he's doing enormous service to Vaishnava Sampradaya all over the world. So he came to visit our temple. He gave a very, very excellent lecture, also discourse about Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So when he arrived, I still can vividly recall Vaisheshika Maharaj was waiting outside on the door, and he was carrying a beautiful fragrant flower garland in his hand. And as soon as he arrived, he paid his Shashtang Dandavat. Uh, and he was teaching by example. I was like pleasantly watching all this interaction between the topmost Vaishnavas, and I was seeing that this is the etiquette, what we should actually follow. That when we see Vaishnava, even though Srila Prabhupada one time he's told some devotees, they watched some Ramakrishna mission sannyasis, and they did not pay obeisances. The devotees who saw, they were not sannyasis. So when sannyasi and sannyasi is there is still discrimination, like reciprocation of etiquette, but it's different. But when somebody is not sannyasi but sees a sannyasi, he should actually immediately pay Shashtang Dandavat. So they did not pay Dandavat. Srila Prabhupada was angry to them that why didn't you pay obeisances to these Ramakrishna mission sannyasis? So they didn't understand why Prabhupada is actually, but this is the etiquette, right? When you see a sannyasi, even though they can be, of Advaita school or some other school, but you should pay Dandavat Pranam. And, that was really beautiful. The reciprocation I saw between, our Vaisheshika Maharaj and Chinnajiya Swami Maharaj, it was amazing. It was very, very pleasant to see the interaction between the Vaishnavas of different sampradaya, but how, lovingly they are mingling with each other. So this is very important, and you should understand that you are nowhere to disrespect anyone who may belong from some other sampradaya or even some other mata or temple, but he should be respected. So that's real humility, which is actually it's real humility actually more higher in degree. But this is at least sometimes we can practice. We should be aware that we should not disrespect anyone based on the sampradaya they belong. Then comes the pastimes of Pralambasura. Pralambasura, he disguised as a cowherd boy, and he was playing with Krishna and Balaram. And then Balaram's side was one group of cowherd boys were in Balaram's side, and another group was in Krishna's side. And then they were actually pushing a rope, and then Balaram's side defeated Krishna's side, and they were supposed to carry everyone who got defeated. They were supposed to carry the one who became victorious on their shoulder. And so Pralambasura was in Krishna's side, and he got the chance to carry Lord Balaram in his shoulder. And he started running very quickly. He thought like, oh, if I can take Balaram out of Krishna's side, then we can, kill him, and I can get reward from Kamsa. So when this pastime was happening, for a second, Balaram actually forget who he is. But then again, he remembered, and he killed Pralambasur with one fist punch. And one punch is good enough. So this Pralambasur, he represents the lust for women, the lust for worship, the desire for worship, the greed and position, especially being a senior devotee. You feel like, oh, I because when we become when we practice devotional service for maybe 1 decade, 2 decade, we feel like, oh, we are entitled to this kind of things. It should automatically come. We should get all the best prasadam, Rajbhoga prasadam. We should get all adoration. Everybody should glorify us. That comes along with it. So this is an anartha which is killed in the process of killing of which was killed by Lord Balaram in the process of killing Pralambasura. And we saw that in the past time. Okay, and also another thing, also the desire to get cellular liberation, means like merge into the Brahman effulgence. Actually, this is also similar to what we will see in the pastimes of Lord Nanda Maharaj being, devoured by the snake. So then next Anartha, the 13th one is Indra Puja, worshipping the demigods for material benefits. Even petty demigods, because Indra is not like a very high class demigod. He's not like Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. They're like very powerful. Indra is in controller of rain, he's king of heaven, just like Indra, Varuna, Agni. So you worship them to get something in return. So this is the Karmakanda mentality, Karmakanda, Jnanakanda, Shokali Visharvanta. In Chaitanya Chaitamrita is spoken. There's this performance of material activities for the desire of enjoyment and performing of mental speculation for getting liberation, Sayuja liberation, the merging into the Brahman effulgence. They are all poisonous. They will poison your mind in such a manner that you will lose the taste in devotional service. You cannot even approach the devotional service. It's so difficult. Among them, actually, the desire for liberation is actually more detrimental. Okay. Okay, then maybe after Vyamasura, okay, we have time, right? We have time till 8:30, so we are good actually. So then the pastimes of Vyamasura come, right? Vyamasura, he actually came, he again came as the disguise of a cowherd boy. And what he was doing, Krishna was playing with his friends on that day. He was playing that sheep. So some cowherd boys were posing as ships, some were catching those ships, and some were stealing those ships, like different activities they were doing. So the Brahmasura thought like, oh, I will pose as a cowherd boy, I will steal this cowherd boy today. And then he started stealing this cowherd boy and putting them in a cave, and he put a big stone at the mouth of the cave also, so that they cannot come out. And that's how he almost took everyone. Only 4 or 5 coward boys left. And Krishna noticed suddenly, like, why there's so less? And then he could understand by his, inconceivable energy that it is the act of Vyomasura. And then he got hold of Vyomasura and he decapitated him, just like a animal is slaughtered in a sacrifice. So he just decapitated him, and then he rescued his coward friends. So this Vyomasura represents developing the propensity of stealing things from others and lie. Because when you steal, you won't say, oh, I have stolen this thing from you. You will try to cover it up, right? That's our nature. So that thing develops when we try to hide our or hide our uh, like progress, not progress, like hide our misgivings. We want to steal the show, or steal the we want to pose ourselves in such a way that people will think, no, he's okay, he's doing everything good. But then we will not do it. Actually, this stealing can be also regarded like stealing from the temple, embezzling temple Lakshmi. There is a pastime in Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Prabhupada's Leela, where one brahmachari, he was living a very austere life, but he was saving Lakshmi. Or here, I don't know how he was saving Lakshmi, but he was sending it to his home. And one devotee got hold of him, and he told that you are not only going to hell, you are dragging all your whole clan to hell by embezzling money or sending money of the matha, the temple, to your home. So don't do that. So this is also kind of the process of stealing the resources of the temple of Krishna's service, and using them for our own personal enjoyment, and lie, because we want to cover it up. We don't want to accept that we have done this kind of misgivings. And then Varuna capturing Nanda. If you recall the pastimes of Varuna capturing Nanda, I'm going a little fast. I hope that we can finish. So in the Varuna capturing Nanda pastime, we see that Nanda Maharaj was fasting on the 11th day of the lunar calendar. So the Ekadasi fasting, and he was supposed to break his fast in Dadasi. So he woke up at midnight, the end of the night, and he went to take bath in water. So that's an inauspicious time to take bath. So Baruna's servants, they took it as an opportunity, and they captured him and took him to the Baruna Loka. And everyone in Brajadham, they were looking for Nanda Maharaj. That where has he gone? Where has he gone? Where has he gone? Nobody could figure out, because he just got vanished from water, right? Then Krishna understood that it is the act of Varuna, and he went to the Varun Loka, and he met with the Varun Deva, and Varun Deva was like, "Oh, wow, we have committed an offense to Lord, your lotus feet. We are very sorry for that." And he gave nice uh, worship, nice paraphernalia to appreciate the Lord, glorified him, and he returned Nanda Maharaj as well. So this pastime actually represent that in Brajadham, the devotees, they don't need anything else to experience jubilation or get intoxicated. Their Krishna prem, their devotional service to Krishna is inundating them in such a way they are always intoxicated with love of Krishna. They don't need any beverage, for alcoholic beverage or anything. So Moruna represents that, that alcoholic beverage thing. So they don't need it. So Nanda Maharaj also represents the Ananda of Brajadham. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that, Nanda represents the Ananda of Brajadham. So capturing that means that Varuna, he wanted to capture the natural bliss of the Braja devotees, and he thought like, oh, he has that, the origin, the real source of bliss, this artificial alcoholic beverages, which creates artificial illusory, bliss in our heart, in our body, whatever. Okay, then the next pastime is Shankachura, killing of Shankachura, right? So Krishna was enacting pastimes with the gopis. They were nicely decorated. And then Sankachura, who is a demon and a servant of Kubera, the treasurer of the demigods, he came and he got attracted by the, gopis' beauty. And he started abducting them. And they started shouting, "Oh, Krishna, please save us, please help us," the gopis. And Krishna immediately, rushed towards that scene. And when he noticed that actually Krishna and Balaram both are present in this pastime, they are both enjoying with their, respective cowherd damsels. But as soon as it was hard, Krishna started, rushing towards Shankachura, and Shankachura left all the gopis he abducted, and he started rushing far away from Krishna. And then Krishna caught hold of him, and he also, in one fist, one punch, he decapitated his head, and he got, nice jewelries from him and presented it to Lord Balaram. So this Shankasura demon actually represents the last of omen, especially when there are many commonalities, in many of the anarthas. By practice of bhakti, you get, so much adoration. So sometimes people gets close to you. So mother nature also, women also get close to you, and they can be attracted to you because of your glamour as a, very elevated devotee. So this is that uh, mentality of Shankachura, or the anartha, where you want to be or pose as an exalted devotee, where to attract the, the omens for lasting enjoyment, and also acquire fame, desire to acquire fame for this kind of purposes. Okay, then that snake that swallowed Nanda Maharaj. Hmm. So one time, the devotees, Brajavasis, they were actually sleeping in the forest, I think underneath the sky. And then suddenly a snake appeared, and it started swallowing Nanda Maharaj. So when he started swallowing Lord Nanda Maharaj, he shouted, "Oh Krishna, please save your surrendered soul." In that time, even though his father, but he knew that Krishna is the solution for everything. So he shouted in Krishna's name, And then Krishna touched his lotus feet, the snake with his lotus feet, and it immediately came to a form, a demigod form, in a very effulgent form. And then he narrated its pastime, that how it got cursed and become a snake. So yeah, that's how Nanda Maharaj got, rescued from the snake which was devouring him. So this pastime narrates the anartha of desire to get merged into the Brahman effulgence. So when one advances in devotional service, because when we advance, our mood of goodness, become dominant. And in mood of goodness, there is a disqualification, qualification or disqualification, what do you say? That it brings a mood of happiness. You feel like, oh, I'm happy, 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 and then you become complacent. You don't, thrive. You don't, uh, strive more, or more endeavor to advance in your process of devotional service. You more focus on, okay, if I'm happy now, I can get liberation, I can go to higher planetary system, I can merge into the Brahman effulgence. Those kind of things come in your mind. So this is an anartha. Especially in Brajalila, you don't actually desire for anything other than service to Krishna, and for that you are ready to take any difficulties, any sufferings. That's the mode of Brajavasis. So this snake demon who devoured Nanda Maharaj, he represents this propensity to merge into the Brahman effulgence when you advance in your process, devotional service, and you become complacent about the progress uh, in the path, because yeah, it's difficult. Then the Kashi demon. Keshi demon, this the demon, horse demon, which came from Kangsa, and it made a big scene in Brajadham. And as soon as he came, it was rushing towards Krishna by watching, Krishna from far away, and it started to attack Krishna with his hoops. Krishna got hold of the both hoops, and then he swirled him around his head and threw him far away, like 100 arrows distance, it says. And then he became unconscious for some time. And then again he came after getting consciousness. And then what happened? When it was coming, it felt like it will devour Krishna. Its mouth was far open, and when it reached to Krishna, Krishna put his left hand inside his mouth. And then the Keshi demon wanted to bite his hand, but it felt like a molten, like a iron rod. But it's very hot, very hot. It was actually it felt very hot. And Krishna, by his mystic potency, he actually he made him feel that the hand inside his mouth is increasing by size, and gradually it choked his throat, and he lost his breathing, and he lost his life as well. So this is the Keshidaman pastimes in short. Oh. Okay, so this actually represents the practice of bhakti other than attaining pure devotional service. Like you want to perform bhakti, like karma mishra bhakti is there also, jnana mishra bhakti is there also, yoga mishra bhakti is there also. Bhakti is tinged with a material desire. Bhakti tinged with mental speculation, the knowledge about absolute truth. You want to speculate. Bhakti tinged with the desire to get siddhis. When also, like the bhakti can be also categorized in tamagun, rajagun, sattvagun, like in Kapila Muni's instruction we see in third canto, right, where he categorized in different way. So Keshi demon represents them, that your bhakti has a ulterior motive, and actually it's not pure, and also it has some other desire. Yeah, other than labha puja pratishtha, you want to get this kind of external things. So you don't want to develop your you don't want to execute devotional service more expertly, rather you want to get some other external things, just like karmis or gyanis they do. So this is the representation of Keshi demon. And then these are the 18 anarthas which are discussed by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Sri Chaitanya Samhita. But there is one other uh, anartha which is discussed by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which is the uh, destroying of Yamala Arjuna tree. The Nalakubara and Manigriv in the Damodar pastime, we see that those trees were earthen. They were uprooted by Lord Krishna in his Damodar form. So these represent the pride of opulence, pride of having a very high birth, pride of having a high knowledge. But among all of this, and pride of having beauty, Janma Ishwarya Sruti Shri Viedumano Madhapumano Naiva Arhati Avidatum Vaitam Akinchana Gocharam. Kunti Maharani, she prays right to Krishna that Janma, the birth, Aishwarya, opulence, Shruti, knowledge, Shri, beauty. These things are actually hindrance to get pure bhakti, because sometimes he became proud of these things. But Narad Muni in these pastimes, he quotes a very nice thing. He says that among all these things, all these, this uh, mada, like the pride, the worst is the pride of Aishwarya, opulence. Because if you have Aishwarya, you can get all those things also, right? Sometimes we see that those those who are very rich, they can buy any any scholar right in the world. They can do anything. Yeah. They can enjoy anything. They can it's like their family members will be regarded. Oh, he belongs from that family, this family, right? So they become the emblem of a very blue blood, or they start a new blue blooded lineage, some kind of like that. And Janma Aishwarya is Janma is that, Aishwarya is that, Shruti is means knowledge. So they can hire someone who can give knowledge. Shri, beauty, you will see that there is an aura, around the people who are very opulent or very rich. You'll see. I don't know whether they make up or they make the lighting in such a way, but you see in their social presence that they are always very glowing. So that comes because of this opulence. But he says that this is also the biggest hindrance, because when you are opulent, you are not doing any austerity. You're not doing any austerity. Somebody who is very opulent, he will be devoid of austerity. And what will happen when you are not doing austerity? Any kind of faith in devotional process will not go in your heart. Any kind of, because you are not doing any sukriti. No, sacrifice, no sukriti. Like there are some humanitarian services, but it's all external. It's not connected to heart. So they are doing it for the sake of fame or adoration, nothing else. So that's why they fall down from the path. They cannot progress. On the other hand, if somebody is poor, because his life is so dilapidated, living in a disheveled way, he very wretched condition, so he suffers. So he takes shelter of higher energy, the Lord, Supreme Lord. He prays to him in a very hearty manner, and Lord listens because he is his children, right? They are his children. So he listens and gives mercy to them, genuine mercy. And that's why they can progress. So that's why he's telling, Narad Muni is telling that you are opulent. That's why you are not getting any mercy, even though you have high birth, you have beauty, you have knowledge because you are the son of Kuberas. But because of your opulence, you become so mada, so proud that you are not able to withstand your position. So that's why I curse you and you suffer in tapa, do tapa, do austerity in the form of trees. And then it was a blessing in disguise, because they were able to uh, watch and enjoy the pastimes, appreciate the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of God in his Pal Leela. So this Yamala Arjuna tree represents the pride stemming from the opulence, from the high birth, from the your material qualities, knowledge, those kind of things. So these are the 19 anarthas. So the anartha nivritti process. So let me speak something about the process of anartha nivritti. So the demons which are killed by Lord Balaram, so the anarthas they represent, they will be killed, or they will be killed by the association of a pure devotee. who will be your guru, or shiksha guru, diksha guru, whatever. But the other anarthas, they will be killed when you do pure nam bhajan. Otherwise, it's not possible. So when you progress in your process of nam bhajan, by chanting of the holy name with more offenselessly, then the anarthas which are hindering your progress in devotional service, especially the mood of Brajavasis, uh, that will be removed when you are chanting. And of course, you have to take shelter of Guru and Krishna both in every step of your devotional service. So, like in the 9 steps of devotional service, which are enunciated by Srila Rupa Goswami, this stage is actually the very steep mountain, like Himalaya. So, like you have some Shraddha, you come to devotional service, and then you will start associating with the devotees, which encourages you to take bhajana kriya. And then through the bhajana kriya, you will disseminate, or you will wipe out all the anarthas, right? That is the process. But this is like climbing a steep mountain, long mountain. So it is very tedious. Sometimes it may take many lifetimes to come off of these anarthas. But once you climb to top of that mountain, then the progress from nishtha, ruchi, ashakti, bhava, prema, that will be much faster. Because when you climb that, then it will be like down slope, so it will be relatively comfy journey. So we have to struggle. But also the Acharya said that some of these anarthas, like some of these demons or pastimes took place during before Rasalila, some of them after Rasalila, like Shankachur, there's swallowing of the what is that snake, python, and then killing of Vyomasura, killing of Keshidamon, that took place after the Rasalila. So they told that even you are advancing in devotional service, you feel like, oh, I am devoid of anartha, but sometimes there can be tinge of previous. That's why until one is situated in a pure love, prema, he should be very careful about the anarthas. He should be very, very sincere to wipe out the weeds, or take out the weeds which are prohibiting to take the pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Okay, so this is my presentation. If anybody has any comment, any question, anything, please feel free.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice explanation of all the demons and the anarthas. Prabhu, I have a question about the Nand Maharaj. I mean, you said Varuna took Nand Maharaj because he wanted. I didn't understand what kind of anartha it is. What I understand is, yes, the everyone in Vraj, they were intoxicated because of their love for Krishna. So Varuna wanted to understand that intoxication. What is that anartha, Prabhu? I don't understand. If you could elaborate, Prabhu.
So thank you, Bo, for bringing up. You are like so sharp listener. You can catch small details also. Jai. So if you can recall the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavat, so there they met with the sannyasi, right? Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and he invited, oh, we have some nectar. I cannot exactly recall the term he said. Anyway, something he said like nectar. We have everything like nectar, ladies, everything. To get
Pleasure.
ananda. We have ananda.
Ananda.
So this is mood of some sahajas, prakrita sahajas. They don't actually derive the pleasure from within, from through their devotional service, because they are not elevated. They pose as they elevated, and they get intoxicated through the external via mediums, external agents, and they pose, oh, I am so exalted, you see that I am exhibiting this transcendental ecstasis, pratibimbhavas. Even not chayavas is better than pratibimbhavas. So this is the anartha, actually is represented by this pastime of this Varuna, where Varuna is Varuna, also we know that Varuna is also a representation of alcoholic beverage. So this Ananda of Brajadham and Ananda of this Varuna beverage are completely opposite. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the explanation.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. Anyone else has anything to say? Comment. If not, then we can actually do some kirtan or something. But feel free.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu.
Ashramada Prabhuji, Dharat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Pranam. I get reminded, that slok in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita is where they're saying the dense forest of delusion, right? I don't know if anyone has ever experienced dense forest. It is actually a very, based on what I read, I never experienced myself, but based on what I read, it is an extremely scary situation because you cannot see properly the sky. So you have no way of knowing which direction you are going. And the forest is dark even in the daytime. Apart from the dangerous animals and all that, you just don't know what is going to happen in the next step. So you are completely deluded. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, so that I think that he's talking about that anartha nivritti, right? The dense forest of delusion. Right? You have to pass that, and other than the guide from within, it is very hard, basically, right? You have to keep struggling against that, forest of delusion to come to that hill, what you're talking about, right? The top of the hill, like the similar analogy. It's a very scary thing, but only thing that can keep us going is the association of devotees, and the scriptures. They can keep us going, basically. Our faith in Krishna.
Yeah, Giridhar Prabhu actually shared that verse 252. So let's read that verse. You can read that verse, Prabhu, actually. Yeah, Ashramada Prabhu, you can actually read.
Yeah. Yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyati tarishyati tada gantashi tirvedam srotavyasya srutasya cha. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. You want me to read the purport or this?
Yeah, please, let's read.
There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord, of those who became indifferent to the rituals of Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities. Even though an experienced Brahmana, Sri Madhavendra Puri, a great devotee and acharya in the line of devotees, says, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu Bhavato Bho Snana Tubhyam Namo Bho Deva Pitarascha Tarpana Vidhau Naham Shama Shamyatam Yatra Kwapi Nishadya Yadava Kulatama Shasya Kamshadvisha Smaram Smaram Magham Harami Tad Alam Manyakim Anyame. O my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances to you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I see it, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayer 3 times a day, taking your bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcends the limit of Sabda Brahma or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads.
Wow, beautiful. That Shraddha Shabda Vishwas Sudhiro Nishchay
কৃষ্ণ ভক্তি কইলে সর্ব কর্মকৃত হয়। If you have the faith, vishwas. Vishwas means like vishesh rupe shwas. In Sanskrit word, that you are breathing in a specific manner. So the pranayam process, it's connected to your mind. It is said like, the pranayam process is very helpful to control the mind. So vishwas means like your mind is devoted to something. You have some kind of engagement emotionally into some process or some elements or some subject matters. So you have shraddha in the process, and you have firm conviction that I will get Krishna Prem for sure. Doesn't matter how many lifetimes or how many years I have to endeavor for, but I will get it. Then if you perform, if in that manner, if you perform Krishna Bhakti, pure devotional service, then all kinds of activities, Devorshi Bhutatma Nirnam Pitrinam, Nayam Kinkaranam Ninicha Rajana, Sarvatmana Yo Sharanam Sharanyam, Gata Mukunda Padhirta Kritam. So all the activities, all the debt you have to different living entities, like, all demigods, rishi, saints, different living entities, your relatives, your forefathers, all things are taken care of automatically. That's why it is said like those who are, Boiragi Sanyasi, Boiragi Vaishnava, they don't have to do any ritual. They are not actually bound. They are not bound. But sometimes they do to, they consider themselves, very low, means like they don't consider themselves even Vaishnava. Like they said, consider that, I am not even qualified to be called as a Vaishnava. But humility, out of humility, exactly. Because a Vaishnava, they don't consider themselves Vaishnava. So when we can say that, okay, I am not a Vaishnava, I have all the faults, that is actually Vaishnavata. Especially the Braja Bhakti is, I am not qualified, you are qualified, you serve Krishna.
Like the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, same thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. The first part of it, right? All about it. And everybody is just directing, directing them. Everybody, Dharakavasis, they told, this Rohini Mata, they are the emblem of the pure devotional service. So cannot be no comparison. Anyways, thank you both for bringing this up. You wanted to say anything else?
No, that was you brought a very interesting topic actually. As long as we are in this material world, this anartha niviti is a very important topic basically.
Yeah, I feel like, to even understand that this is an anartha, like somebody's propensity to excel in devotional service. And did I speak about that part? Which one was that one? Actually, it was maybe, I missed that maybe. It is actually Keshi demon. Keshi demon actually represents, I think I missed that small detail. It represents that you pose that you are a very expert devotee and you're better than others. You're better than others. The pride of your, ability to execute a particular task in a better way. So this is something which is a big anartha. So I don't even know that, sometimes like you do some activities but it is actually a subtle thing. It is your feeling. It's not that if you are expert in something, you don't teach others. You should teach others. But you should not feel like, oh, I only know it, or, I am the owner, I am the controller, those kind of things. Anyways,
excellent. That's a good point, Prabhu.
Thank you. Okay. If anyone else has anything to add? If not, then we can sing sometimes for pleasure of the Lord. Okay, let's see.
Prabhu, there is an online question. Do you want me to read?
Yeah, sure, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me go there. Pradipto Chatterjee Prabhu, he is asking, Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the wonderful class. Could you please elaborate on the etiquette, like offering dandavat, regarding respecting other sects? His in parentheses is saying refer to Ramakrishna Mission devotees. So that's the question, like etiquette to other sects.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. So it's a very good point. So it is said in the Shastra, for for sannyasis, any grahastha, anyone who is not in the sannyas ashram, if he sees a sannyasi coming towards you, you should pay dandavat in the first glance. Like when the first time you see in the day, you should give dandavat pranam to that person. If you don't do that, you should fast rest of the day. So that is the shastric injunction. Now, in these pastimes, in Prabhupada's pastime, what happened? Prabhupada's disciples, they did not consider them, that they are eligible sannyasi, or they are not Vaishnava sannyasi, right? We have Vaishnava sannyasis. They're different. Like there are Tridandi sannyasi, and then Ekadandi sannyasis, like we are coming from the Shankaracharya school, like Puri, Bana, Ashram, Bharati, Sagar, Parvat, those Bharati, Saraswati. So there are different Aranya, Giri, Muni. So there are 10 sannyas ashrams are coming from Sankara school. So even if you see any Sankara sannyasi, you are supposed to actually pay full dandavat pranam to them. Doesn't matter, what is their belief. It is their garb, it is their vow of sannyas that commands the respect, and that is the shastric injunction. Doesn't matter. So that's why even if you cannot do in Shashtang Pranam in person, like sometimes the situation is not like that, at least in your heart, just meditate that you are paying obeisances. Krishnati Yasagri Tang Manasadriyat. You should pay obeisances in the heart, the person who is, chanting the name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But that's a different injunction given by Srila Rupa Goswami. But I'm telling that you can actually pay obeisances in heart also. But this is the injunction, and we should follow it. We should not see like, oh, this is not applicable for us. We are like topmost Vaishnava society, so we should not respect them. No, it's not the etiquette. Yeah. I hope it answers, but that's my understanding, and that's what I heard from our gurus. When I was in Krishna house, there was a discussion regarding the sannyas ashram, that in Kali Yuga sannyas is prohibited, but we still see that Sankaras are taking sannyas, Vaishnavas are taking sannyas. So in that discussion it came up actually. Yeah. Okay, if there is no other question or comment, because I think we have less attendees today, so we can sing some Hare Krishna Kirtan, and then we can conclude our session today. By the way, all the subtle, the anarthas, like especially the subtle anarthas, like to discriminate, to understand the exclusivity, like recognizing these subtle anarthas are important to engage yourself in the service of Krishna in the Brajamut. But some of these subtle anarthas may not be an impediment for other type, devotional service. If somebody is desiring to serve Lord in opulence form, it may not be actually. Yeah, there can be some transcendental competition. I don't want to comment elaborately on that, but that's what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur he explains in his commentary, that these are exclusive for devotees who want to take the service of Brajavasis, or who want to help the service of Brajavasis, because we don't want to take the service, we want to assist them in their service to Krishna.
What is that book, Prabhu?
Oh, it's Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Samhita. Let me actually confirm.
Okay, Sri Chaitanya Samhita.
Yeah, Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Bhaktivinoda Thakur's book, Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita. Actually, there is a book called Sri Krishna Samhita, so I messed up with that.
Okay.
Yeah, Sri Krishna Samhita and Sri Chaitanya Shikshamrita. They are actually, he elaborates these things. And there is another book called Bhajana Rahasya. There he elaborates the different types of anartha, like this Tattva Vibram, Hriday Durbalya, weakness of heart, aparad, offenses, and then Tucha Shakti, like propensity to acquire this liberation, material gains, those things. So those are discussed in Bhajana Rahasya, the book called Bhajana Rahasya. Okay.
Prabhuji, there is a question on the chat, Zoom chat.
Oh, Giridhar Prabhu. Okay, Hare Krishna. Could you elaborate on the difference between gross and subtle discrimination? Excellent. So gross discrimination is as I discussed, that you're discriminating based on somebody's birth. You're discriminating somebody's bodily color, discriminating somebody's area, the geography where he's based in. You're discriminating based on somebody's material qualities. Material qualities. Somebody is very like a scholar, very good in Sanskrit. Madhavananda Prabhu gives a very nice example. So one time he was traveling with a person. He was a very scholar, topmost, one of the topmost scholars in Orissa in Sanskrit literature, Gauriya philosophy, Gauriya literatures, and he was quoting verses left and right. So Madhavananda Prabhu was, uh, I think most of us know Madhavananda Prabhu, right? He is based in Puri and he comes to ISB. And whenever devotees go in yatra in Puri, he assists them. He gives them discourses. Anyway, so Madhavananda Prabhu, he was telling that he was dazzled by his presence. But after some time discussing all these things, he has started smoking and he has started glorifying. Oh, you don't eat fish? Eating fish is like you get intelligence, you get memory power. so if he has considered him, oh, he is such a scholar, and if he would have considered some simple devotee who doesn't even he may barely write his name, and he doesn't give respect to him as a devotee and give respect to this person. This is like God's discrimination based on external situation. But the subtle discrimination is that when you are progressing in devotional path, there are different stages, right? So in our stage, I can say about myself, in Kanishta stage, my goal is to go to Madhyama stage. So in Madhyama stage, there is subtle discrimination. So you want to establish a relationship, a loving relationship with the Supreme Lord. You want to mix friendly with the devotees, and you want to be compassionate with them who are non-envious. There are devotees, there are people in the street who are non-envious, who are not vilifying you. Just give some prasad, give some books, whatever, or invite them to the temple. Whatever you want, you can do for their benefit. Even if you cannot do anything, just chant loudly Hare Krishna so that they can hear. They get bhakti sukriti by doing that. When you are walking, like when I chant and walk, I try to chant a little loudly so that the trees and other living entities, they also can hear. Because Haridas Thakur told Namacharya. Oh, so let me give an example of Haridas Thakur. So Haridas Thakur, by birth, he was a Javana, right? He's a lecturer. He was born from a Muslim family. But what Lord Chaitanya has given him, like how he has established him as the Namacharya. The Nam is the only source of attaining perfection in Kali Yuga, because other sources are very difficult, actually, very difficult. Maybe somebody can get, but it's Nam the most powerful thing. So who he made the Acharya of holy name? Haridas Thakur, who is coming from a completely non-Vedic background. So did he actually did subtle discrimination? Cross discrimination? No. But subtle discrimination he did. I will give you an example. I think I discussed this also before. The Lord Chaitanya did not show his ecstasy in front of someone who he considered as a foreigner. Just like he did not show his ecstasy in front of Ballavacharya. 2 times. One time when he was crossing the Ganges, Tapan Mishra was also there with him. He felt ecstasy because he's always, experiencing Srimati Radharani's love, his mood of Srimati Radharani. But he subdued it because he felt the presence of a foreigner. Similarly, same thing happened in the presence of, Ballavacharya in Jagannath Puri Dham also. So these are subtle discrimination, where it's very high level. For our level, it's just we want to discriminate people based on their consciousness, devotional consciousness, not outward like a very gross way. We just avoid them. If somebody is envious to devotional service, we just avoid them. We don't want to fight or cut their tongue or something like that, but we just avoid them and we run away from their place. I hope that it makes sense, right? Gross and subtle.
Yes. Well, actually, I have a follow-up question. Can I ask that?
Sure, please go ahead.
Like generally, if we do subtle discrimination, like it's intended to protect our bhakti and sort of help us advance. But like I think in the process, it can sort of there can start with bad feelings in there if you're even doing subtle discrimination. Like, how can we avoid that? Like, we don't want to feel any hatred or envy towards the other person. It's just maybe you need to avoid them for.
Yeah, so you try to find some qualities in that person. That Vaisheshika Maharaj, he often quote, right? If you want to, you cannot appreciate, if you can appreciate someone, that counteracts that feelings, feelings of enviousness, feelings of malice. So the Vaishnavas, they behave as indifference. They don't want to feel negative about that person, and they don't want to carry that in their heart. So there are two different things. Normal people, like conditioned people like us, we consider, oh, he is our party, he is not our party. So he has these bad qualities, he has these good qualities, that's why he's our party. Or I can align with him and I cannot align with him, so that's why he's out of our party. So that is not a Vaishnava quality. So Vaishnava qualities, they feel everyone, because they know a vertical relationship with Krishna. Everyone is connected with Krishna, right? Everyone is coming from Krishna. Everyone. And the topmost Vaishnava, Uttama Adhikari, he sees everyone as everyone is serving Krishna other than him, other than himself. So that's very high level. But in Madhyama Adhikari level, we should be just indifferent to those who are envious to Krishna. So how you can practice, if you see someone who is not conducive for devotional mood, just avoid that person and just don't think about them, or don't discuss about them, don't talk about them. Just ignore that subject matter. Because I see that Kautukarna Prabhu and other preachers who go to distribute books in different streets and in different places, they definitely face so many this kind of people who are very aggressive. But if they keep these things in heart, then the negative things will just keep piling up, and then they will fall down from their position. Those people will not be hurt in any way, but they will not feel enthusiasm to execute the devotional service. So best is to ignore, and you can give something which you have. So what you have your sadhana. So if your sadhana is very strong, that's why first principle of book distribution is your sadhana must be strong. So if your sadhana is strong, then those people cannot affect you at all. If you go with the kavach of Harinam, we're chanting nice, then whatever negative energy will be evaporated by those people, they cannot do much harm. Actually, Kautikarna Prabhu wants to add something. Prabhu, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru. That is a beautiful point. That's the first principle of book distribution. Your sadhana must be strong. Then definitely that will not affect you when you get negative vibrations from the atmosphere. I also want to add additional things, which is your sadhana must be strong. It includes reading also, so and hearing these classes, so and discussing this concept. So this is a very good question. So one of the points that we hear when we learn book distribution, the art of book distribution, is Guru Maharaj has mentioned, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu has mentioned, don't be condescending. Don't be condescending. So condescending to, even if the other persons, they can be in two stages. One is they are non-envious of Krishna, but they are ready to accept, ready to listen. So still there is a possibility to think them lower than myself. That is very dangerous. And second are those people who are envious, who may insult me on book distribution. So there is again a chance of being condescending. Oh, these people don't have any culture, they do not have any spiritual consciousness. So both of these possibilities can cause condescending attitude in the book distributor. But as we discussed about humility, Prabhu, earlier, uh, a devotee actually gets the chance to practice humility when he goes out. We can actually see that I am worse than this person. I am actually worse than both of these. That is why Krishna is showing me. I am doing this with Krishna for so many lifetimes. That's why I am facing these kind of people in my life. It is so. I mean, it actually helps us to become humble and understand what is my situation. Otherwise I would not, I mean, they are actually helping me. These people, if they were not there, I will never get a chance to practice humility. So it actually, I am the lowest. Because of me, they have to behave like this so that I can understand my real situation. So I just wanted to add that, Prabhu,
Yeah.
and our chanting will be much better if we have that kind of attitude.
Yeah. Excellent, excellent, bro. You are actually explaining in a like this is the cherry of today's session, that you actually ended up with such kind of emotional expression and natural realization. Whatever you have gathered through your so many years of services to the movement. Excellent. I just want to add one thing actually. In one of the verses in Prabhupada Saraswati's prayers, Chaitanya Chandramrita, he actually quotes Koivalya Narakayate Tidashapur Akasha Pushpayate Durdantu Indriyo Kala Sarpa Pataling Protkata Dangstrayate Vishram Purna Sukhayate Vedi Mahendra Adishkitayate Yat Karana Kataksha Vaibhavametam Sa Gaura Vaibhastamaha. I bow down to that Gaura, whose is small glance, sidelong glance, Karuna Kataksha, merciful glance, can make us feel the whole world as a place of Ananda. Vishram Purna Sukhayate. It can make us feel the liberation as insignificant. It can make us feel the higher planetary system just like flowers floating in the sky, like clouds floating in the sky. They are very insignificant. You don't bother about that. And all the senses which are like very kal sarpa, which are always biting us, directing us to for sense enjoyment, they become toothless, so they cannot do any kind of harm, huh? And the post of vidhi means like Lord Brahma and Mahendra, Indra, King Indra, that becomes like insects, insignificant like insects. So this is the people who are serving Lord Chaitanya, they are experienced. And I can see that thing, Vishwapurna Sukhayate, Prabhu, Kotakarna Prabhu is actually getting a glimpse of that. And that's why he's appreciating the unenvious person also, that they are actually helping him to grow. It's a very high level consciousness. I really, this is the community we are living in, so we are really fortunate. Hare Krishna. So I think we can end our session today in this note. Maybe I'll just chant few minutes of Hare Krishna Mahamantra and then we can conclude. Namoyong Vishnu Padayo Krishna Prishtayo Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesho Shunyavadi Paschato Deshotarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Adaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I ask for forgiveness to all the devotees who joined today if I have spoken something which are not in line with the acharyas, their teachings. So I beg forgiveness, pardon from all of you, because I have so much misgiving, so much anarthas in my heart. So I seek your blessings so that I can purify to some extent in the services what I do for the pleasure of their lordships and my gurus and all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
His Grace Kolodwip Pran Prabhu ki
Jai.
jai.
Prabhupada ki jai, समस्त गौर भक्त वृंदाव की जय, निताई गौर सीता न प्रेम नंदे हरि